Hi and hello watch fans, and welcome for the last time of Geneva Watch Days 2025 to the Glass Igloo. We're here joined by Philippe Belais of Claude Meylan to talk about his wonderful watches and to ask him about the fair. But let's start off with our friendly neighbourhood jeweller, Alain Ben Joseph. Have you heard of Claude Meylan before, Alain?
The funny thing is, Claude Meylan, I know from the shop windows whenever I do a retail safari. Because what do retailers do? They do retail safaris when they're abroad. And every top jeweler in Switzerland has Claude Meylan. So I felt foolish not knowing enough about the brand. And the name Meylan, obviously we have our friend Edouard Meylan. And the Meylans, a part of the Meylan family, is famous because of Audemars Piguet. But unfortunately, I don't know enough besides that. So I don't know where to start. Maybe first question. I see two tonneau-shaped watches. Are all the watches tonneau-shaped?
Oh, tonneau was invented by Cartier, really, 1920.
Tortue.
Exactly. And you know the difference between a tonneau and a tortue, the legs, or the horns in watchmaking speaking. So we did design a tortue shape, which is part of the heritage and the significant cases in our industry. So, as you said, Meylan is a large branch, but it's one of the four families that founded high horology in the Vallée de Joux in 1680 something. After they're all coming from France, funny enough. So after and during the religious war, we saw those families coming to Geneva, and Calvin was very kind in saying, no more place here, go up the mountain. They are farmers, and being farmers, they don't know there is snow between November and March. So they're stuck. What do you do when you're stuck? You count time. And this is how high horology was founded and created. So Vallée de Joux is really 7,000 people were living there. But for 350 years or so, we all have wheels in our head. And it became the masterpiece for chronographs and repeater. So yes, we are coming from there.
Incredible stuff. When we go into the history of a brand, we don't often go all the way back to the history of high horology, but it's a lovely little story, isn't it? How it all came about and how we ended up here together in Geneva, enjoying a wonderful fair. How has it been for you, Philippe?
Well, it's the fifth edition we do, and we feel there was more traffic, especially from a crowd that we didn't see as much the previous years. So collectors, people coming to the tent, seeing the watches, going up to the hotel and say, oh, we saw that in the window. Can we see more? So that's very nice to see a new crowd, a new horizon. We saw retailers, we saw some regions, even right from Japan and from the States as well.
Good.
Italy, France, of course, and Switzerland. So quite a very nice crowd.
It's obviously growing. Geneva Watch Days is getting bigger and bigger. We've got 66 brands exhibiting here, as we've touched upon earlier. And we had Catherine and Antoine on the show, and both of them mentioned that the goal to position Geneva Watch Days as more of a cultural event, something more educational and interactive than Watches and Wonders. Does that kind of style appeal to you? Do you think that that's what this fair needs to be, or would you foresee any other changes or developments that you'd like implemented?
Well, as a more confidential brand, everything goes. So we don't pretend to be educational, because one of our goals is and dream is to see that people will buy Claude Meylan to buy our savoir-faire. Our savoir-faire is master of skeleton. We don't pretend to be a manufacturer. And the key thing here is I'm using words of a French humorist called Coluche. The right length for the leg is when the feet touch the ground. And that is true for products, for price, for communication. And really, if Geneva Watch Days becomes more educational, if we keep the same spirit, the same openness, and the same serenity for people visiting us, it's all good.
I think that is the key thing, isn't it?
It's absolutely the key. It's really the fact that it's open, that people are there passing the door and asking for products. The openness and the relaxed attitude is key.
That is what differentiates it. It's what we've always loved as journalists. It's always been, well, ever since 2020 when it first began, my favorite fair to visit because it has such a familial feel. You know, you see everyone in the tent every night, CEOs talking to one another, sales executives sharing tips and tricks and whatnot, and you realize that we're all in this together. You know, it's competitive, obviously, but as Nicholas from Fears likes to say, a rising tide raises all ships. And if we are to succeed, we'll succeed together. And if we're failing, then, you know, the industry needs to change. Do you think the industry does need to change and adapt, or?
Well, it will change anyway.
Yeah.
And it's already changing. And it has changed a lot since COVID, which is sort of a landmark for everybody. So it will, it's not a need. It's if you don't change, you don't evolve. If you don't evolve, you die. It's very simple.
And what do you think that the industry needs to do then, that it's not doing?
That I would love to know. I would love to know what to do. What I'm sure is that we need to be always closer to our customer, always listen, always take into account what is observed. But at the same time, if you do that, you're always late. So you have to anticipate from what you learn. And this is the passion that is animating everybody in the industry.
So instead of looking to the future for now, let's pause that. How old is the brand, Meylan?
It's at 45 years old.
Who started it?
Claude Meylan. Claude Meylan, Monsieur Meylan, Monsieur Claude Meylan, who is issued from another branch of the Meylan family, so he is not linked to Edouard or Edouard's father. Claude Meylan was a watchmaker. He worked at Lemania, which is now become the Breguet factory. Then he went to Audemars Piguet. At Audemars Piguet, he had a great success, and through this success, he was led to, by EPFL study, he was led to create his own brand. Had very good success. Unfortunately, one major customer, the Sultanate of Brunei, was buying quite a lot. And if you remember, you're probably too young to remember, but in the early 80s, the Sultanate stopped all the buyings and, unfortunately, the payments. So that put Claude Meylan in difficulty. It was bought over by Henri Bernet, a family from Valais-Dru, from l'Abbaye. And Henri bought the company, led it. And the story starts to be beautiful because I knew Henri from all my previous days at Richemont. And I was buying movement from Henri Bernet. And I met him at GTE 2010. And he says, "Oh, Philippe, by the way, it's amazing. My daughter becomes préfet, so she can't work in the company. My granddaughter's got children. She cannot work full-time. I am selling the company." Wow. What a shock. And honestly, I never dreamed about having a watch company of my own. So we talked about 8 months, and I bought the company in December 10. So since December 10, soon 15 years, we are having fun, and we love it.
You're 5 years out from the brand's 50th anniversary, of course. I guess as everything takes a long time in watchmaking, you're already planning ahead for that. Will it be a special year?
Well, you know, in small companies, we have to be true. I never plan, neither myself, my home life, or my products 5 years in advance. So, no.
Okay.
Opportunities and really feelings are leading us, and we are very close to markets, so we will adapt. See, if small companies can go through COVID and go through tough times, it's because we are agile and quick, and I can compare this from my previous days at groups.
Yeah, so you know a lot about volume trading and also the smaller, more independent side of things. But you say a small brand, but Claude Meylan is extremely visible on the continent. How many watches do you produce a year?
Let's again keep our feet on the ground. Extremely visible in Switzerland, it's true. Quite visible in Middle East, it's true. It was very visible in Asia, but we lost almost everything in Asia because of COVID.
Oh.
Because most of the country in Micronesia and Asia, apart from Japan, did apply the Chinese law. So retail doors are closed. If you go to Hong Kong today or to Macau, you would be crying. It's empty. You land in Macau from the boat from Hong Kong and you see the first casino are all closed. So 2 out of 3 are closed because the Chinese law said don't spend money. And this is true everywhere. So yes, we are visible. By choice, I didn't go to the States. That's my own choice.
I get why though. Why did you not go?
Simply because I relaunched Van Cleef & Arpels and Bertolucci in the US. And the US is a fantastic market, but needs a media plan. And I didn't play Lotto, so I didn't win. So I didn't vote.
Fair enough, fair enough.
And really, honestly, what a joy for me to be totally independent with no constraint. USA would have put me under pressure. It's kind of hard to get the right budget, and it's even harder to get paid if you don't get the right budget. So I drew USA outside. So I crossed also Caribbean, also Central America, and also South America, because they all depend, or most of them depend on the US. But it's okay. The rest of the world, it is large enough.
So go on, tell us how many pieces you make a year.
This is, probably a subject that nobody talks about. I can admit that we lost 67% of our volumes after COVID.
Wow.
So we are now maybe another 25% before we recover the pre-COVID business.
Okay.
So you have to be agile and quick and flexible.
It's very interesting.
Maybe if I wanted to ask what do you do in-house and what's the price range? But I'm dying to know, what does the big skeletonized tortue retail at? So the big one, which is a 40 millimeter size, retails for 5,500 francs. Expat.
No, retail.
Yeah, including VAT.
Including VAT.
All these Swiss brands always mention without VAT.
Well, I do mention VAT because this is the public price in Switzerland. So it includes our 8.1%.
And what was the beautiful suspended micro rotor D? Surprise.
Again, we have to be true. It's not really a micro rotor. It's just a very good idea to answer customer expectation. When we developed the Tortue 35 millimeters, we did it because the success of the large one, we had comments from the ladies, some ladies, saying it is slightly too big. So we developed the 35. And we made a little survey at our scale, and the ladies came with 3 major points. Stop telling us that we don't like mechanics. We like mechanics. We like when something happens in the wash, and we like curves. So after deciding on that side, we choose the movement, and the movement is an ETA 2671, but it's pretty poor. It's just round. You say, what?
Poor you in boring.
Poor or boring.
Yes, poor in quality.
No. We buy only ETA because they are produced in mass, they are serviced worldwide, and they are super reliable and inexpensive. So that's why at Claude Meylan, we want them to buy a watch buying the savoir-faire of master of quality. We don't pretend to be a manufacturer. But with this creation, we had the great idea of moving the rotor up to mirror the dial, to open a very nice yin and yang curve from 11 to 4 to reveal the balance wheel and the escapement, and redesign bridges to evoke a tulip from Amsterdam. And this gives us a great opportunity to present a movement that we really developed and mastered. So what we do at Claude Meylan is basically we buy the movement, we dismantle the movement, we decorate the movement, we cut out the movement. And of course, we subcontract the milling and the decoration by machine to respect and achieve those prices.
And what does it retail at about?
That one is at 4,800. The 35 with automatic movement.
How big is the team at Claude Belais?
7 people.
Amazing. Yeah, so you outsource a lot with great network apparently.
Well, we buy all the movements. We buy all our components in Switzerland, except the cases that we buy in Asia. And that's all really, because all the rest we buy hands, strap, dies if we have dies. Everything is bought either in Vallejo or La Chaux-de-Fonds region.
What is the price range of the full collection? Where do you start and where do you end?
We start at 1,700 and we go up to 15,000.
Rather wide.
What do you know about your audience, your consumers? What is your most active demographic?
I'm very sorry, but it's always a question that makes me laugh. Sorry, but really, honestly, there's everybody.
Yeah.
There's young, there's not so young. Even now, I hesitate in telling you that this is a lady's watch. There is no more sex in a watch. You can see from many, many, many years ago, Asian girls wearing Pasha from Cartier and then Panerais. And so I would say that we have about 60% male and 40% ladies. What strikes me is that the young population loves skeleton. So whenever I am in a retail store and I see youngsters or even younger, like from 15 to 20, if they happen to see the watch, they want to take it out of the window and being explained. So this is very reassuring.
Do you think that's because the skeletonization makes the fact it's mechanical very, very obvious, and for the younger generation, mechanical things are an oddity and they're very curious about that?
Yeah, and it does appeal. So it's not a hazard that everybody is doing skeleton or open art or something to dive into the movement, because it's fascinating. And as far as skeleton is concerned, it's not rare to see people saying, "Oh, I bought this," and then they take it out of the wrist. That's why we do only Ardillon pieces, is that so you can discover the back of the watch, because the back of the watch is also extremely nice.
That's beautiful. Ardillon, that's a word we've not had on the podcast before, but it's the buckle, the style of the buckle, as opposed to like a butterfly clasp or a bracelet or anything like that. So it can easily be taken off and shown off. And they should be shown off because they are beautiful watches. And even though I don't often wear skeletons, I've always had a soft spot for what you've been doing, because I love the reorganization of the movement. I think it's extremely elegant and satisfying to the eye. Could you give us an idea of what novelties you'll be bringing in the near future, or have you not even decided yet?
Well, the near future could be a watch and wonder. So yes, we do have evolution. So just maybe that as a good summary, we've registered the sentence "sculpteur du temps." So you can imagine that we will be increasing and going further in reshuffling movements and creating a new atmosphere and a new target.
I absolutely love it. Reshuffling movements. It's been a week of shuffling about. We've been in and out of the pavilion. We've been all around town, and obviously we've spent most of our time here in the Igloo with wonderful guests like you, Philippe. Thank you so much for bringing our time here to a joyous conclusion. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, subscribe, follow the podcast. We'll be back very soon.